Hey guys, it's Nate, aka TheFutAccountant. Welcome back to the channel. It's a Friday on FC26, and the new Ratings Reload promo is dropping in today on this game, and it's bringing some heat. We've got two big SBCs that we're expecting today, a day after we already had two pretty big Player of the Month SBCs released already. What does it mean for fodder prices, and what does it mean for the rest of the market? That's going to be a topic of discussion today, especially because of the promo team. We're talking about potential prices dropping on existing players because these new players look really good, and a lot of people are spending coins buying SBC fodder because the SBCs are really good. Now, what we hope to be really good today as well with content are evolutions. We have one leaked Evo that has some promise, but will it actually deliver? Because Evos have been under-delivering so far this year, that's for sure. And we have to talk about gameplay and how that's impacting the market. We have a new patch that has been confirmed, and it's changing a lot to defending, and it might mean the end for some of the really overpowered cards that we've seen get really high in price. That's a lot of yapping. Let's get into some more yap. Guys, if you're excited for Ratings Reload Promo Friday, drop a thumbs up on the video, hype the video, and subscribe if you're new. Now, really quick, we're going to cover yesterday's Thursday content just in case you missed. SP, finally, we get some SP from EA Sports here. We have a seasonal objective SP drop here with a lot of stuff going on. We've got a lot. I think this is 5,000 SP. You can only play in squad battles, rivals, or champs to get this SP. But, of course, playing champs this weekend, getting your rivals games in this next week will be very easy, or squad battles on the weekend as well will be very easy to get a 5,000 SP. Some people are now hitting level 30, which is, of course, pretty far into the past. And that was super nice to get a jump of SP after it felt like we were kind of falling behind for a while. Also, the weekly objectives refreshed in here, and I think something may be happening with the manager objectives. There we go. I think these may have been reset, and they may be working correctly because they are now looking like they have been reset. Before they were stuck, so I think EA is actually making some progress in that area. So SP might finally be back. Now, yesterday as well, I forgot to mention completely, partially because I hadn't qualified for it, but the Cornerstones tournament finale is going on right now. That started yesterday at content, and of course there are some of the new rewards out for this if you're qualified for it. Man, it is sweaty. It is so sweaty. I just got to the final in the qualifier because I was trying to still win this, and I lost on penalties. Very unfortunate, but you got some packs and a red fire flame evolution right there if you want to get into that tournament final, and you go ahead and win it, but it's very difficult to do, very sweaty. So if you win that, GG's. Now, really quickly, the biggest parts of yesterday's content on Thursday were the Player of the Months. First, with Christian Pulisic, he's around 300,000 coins, but it is a great card because he's really meta in-game. And I think this is the one that most people see as overpriced. Of course, I'm biased. I'm going to be doing this SBC, but I'm probably going to be crafting it over the next month that it is out. He's got all the positions you need in the attack. He's got great dribbling. He's got incisive, dead ball, low driven, and quick step. No change from his gold card there. False 9++, winger ++, and he at least has inside forward plus. No playstyle plus on the card, but again, it's a +1, I believe, over his inform, and it is downvoted on Footbin because it's just expensive. And this is really kind of amplifying the problem. This Pulisic and the Harry Kane that we got yesterday, amplifying the problem that the rewards and the packs that we feel like we're getting are not quite good enough to allow us to obtain these players, because I'm sitting right now looking at this Harry Kane Player of the Month. It's probably the SBC that I'm going to do first. I got lucky with some pack pulls yesterday from rewards. I packed Gabriel and Guderitin, and here I am only able to do this SBC by buying another 88, and I didn't do Hanchko this last week. I didn't do the hero pack, and sure, I don't get the highest rank in Division Rivals rewards or in Foot Champs, but like, it is hard to obtain fodder right now. So I think that's going to be part of our discussion today. When we look at the market, we have to know that I'm going to be spending some coins in SBCs. A lot of people are going to be spending some coins in SBCs because these are some really hype cards, and it's hard to get fodder for them. Now, at least Harry Kane's not that expensive. He's only 187,000 coins to get done. Low driven plus change there. They gave him the pace boost, which is pretty nice. So that one I will be getting done. You got to pick the SBC that's right for you, though. As we look at the leaked ones coming out today, I think there's one for everybody that's out in this game right now, but we got to kind of just figure out which one's the best for each one of us. Now, the rest of yesterday's content would include marquee matchups, which did supply the market tradable a little bit yesterday, and the 80+ times 5 pack did refresh as well. So this has, I think, maybe one more refresh in it, and then it will go away in 4 days time. But that's going to refresh on Saturday, I think. But it refreshed yesterday on Thursday, so that was nice. Last thing to touch on from yesterday's content is actually in the store. In the packs for you section, we had a 1 coin pack for the first time this year. We also had a 10 coin pack dropped. And of course, you're seeing this because you logged in to Ultimate Team on 3 separate days. This is the one that's the player pick. That's 1 of 2 and an 82 plus. I don't think that's worth 10,000 coins at all. The 1 coin pack, though, is 100% worth it. So let's get straight into things today, guys, because today ratings reload and all the content that we're getting is the big, of course, it's a big attraction, I guess is the way to say it, right? But let's first start with something that's happening before ratings reload drops today. Early, guys, before the content drop, we are expecting this SBC. That is Erling Haaland Player of the Month. If you guys remember from previous years, the Player of the Months on Fridays for the Prem always drop at least a few hours before content. I think it's maybe as early as like 1 p.m. UK. It's somewhere around that time. Maybe it's even 11 a.m. UK. It's pretty early. So as you're watching this video, this SBC might be out. Interesting playstyle plus change here for Erling Haaland. They're giving him Enforcer Plus, and he is getting some stat boosts over his Inform card. It's basically a +1 on every face stat except for physical, and instead of the low driven again, he has got the Enforcer, which some people would view as a downgrade. Others may view as an upgrade. There are not very many Enforcer Plus playstyle plus players in this game. There's just a handful. Gyökeres is one of them. Mario Gomez is another. So if you're very good with that playstyle plus, and it is pretty OP. I haven't used it a lot, but I've seen people use it against me, and it is pretty OP. This might end up being an interesting card to think about crafting. Now, of course, it comes down to the price. The Inform here is around 400,000 to 500,000 coins, and since he's going above the stats in this Inform, and since Fodder's kind of pricey right now, I could see this Haaland actually being a little overpriced, like maybe 550 to 600,000 coins. We'll just have to see how EA price it. But if you've invested in Fodder, this was the SBC or one of the 2 SBCs that you were holding on to it for. We've been saying hold Fodder because I do believe it can go up further today. 88 rated cards are 15K, 87s are 11.2, and 89s. What a profit. These were 18K when we shouted them a couple days ago. They're at 22,000 coins right now and just look like they could continue to rise, especially if this Haaland has an 88 rated squad, or maybe, I doubt it, but maybe an 89 rated squad inside of this. I think you see Fodder go up for that. So that's going to be early content today, and it's going to be an expensive SBC, but one worth thinking about once we see the price when it's released. Now, let's get straight into the ratings reload conversation here because we got the full team leaked with official stats, and EA dropped a little promo video from this yesterday with Trinity Rodman featuring in it. Kind of an interesting concept. And the first question that I want to answer with this promo is, since it's called Ratings Reload, I think some people are imagining that the players that are in packs are just going to all of a sudden turn into like a higher rated card. No, EA doesn't do that anymore, guys. That's way back in the old times when they would do some of that. Even back then, they didn't used to do it. But they're going to be getting new promo cards today. It's not like the existing Trinity Rodmans and the existing players like Elise are going to all of a sudden turn into these new cards. These are new promo cards that are going to be in packs. And this is the full league team. And my goodness, man. We had some of these league stats yesterday, so we've seen a few of these cards. But my goodness, what a team. Like, big name players, like we were talking about yesterday, just the hype is here. If you pack one of these cards this week from FUT Champs Rewards, again, there's guaranteed cards in these Champs Rewards. If you pack one of these and you pack a good one, you got big time potential. The stat boost on some of these players, Elise is actually one of the cards that got one of the biggest boosts, and he got a playstyle plus boost. That's the one thing I'm noticing as I look through this team. Big stat boosts. Not on every card, but on a lot of them. Of course, Elise getting a huge pace upgrade, big pass, dribble, and shooting upgrades for him, and then Tech Plus. But most of the cards in here just got stat upgrades, and only a handful got playstyle pluses. We got Eze, who's got first touch plus, so that's new for him. He got a sizable upgrade. Kuti Romero, big pace upgrade. McTominay's not quite Hullet Gang, but he looks insane. You know, all the cards in this top row, the Rodman with 70 defending is insane. Like, that is wild, that defending boost there. Samba Parluelo's probably going to be the most expensive card in packs today since she's so overpowered in game. Ekitike is going to be very popular because he got such a big shooting boost, and he's so popular in this game already with his gold card. And even down here at the bottom, you've got Kubarsi, who's got a new playstyle plus. Again, only I think 3 or 4 cards in this Pro Bowl team added playstyle pluses to their items, but a lot of big stat boosts. Look at the state of this Tovan card. 85 rated Tovan has 87 shooting, 87 passing, 89 dribble. Insane. Cucurella needed a bit more of a stat boost to be an 86 rated card. Like, if they gave him like plus 3 or 4 pace on that, that card would be really insane. 87 defense, though, he still could be really good. And this might be the best 85 rated card of them all. Oscar Bob finally gets a promo. What a freaking card, man. 89 pace and 90 dribble on an 85 rated item, also with 85 pass. The stats are leveling up with this promo team, and it's, once again, this team being so insane with the power curve moving up a little bit. Like, it is moving up for sure, but these cards are probably going to be pretty expensive, so it's not like it's going to really move everybody's team that much just yet. It's going to be really interesting to see how the market reacts to this. We're going to continue to talk about that a little bit later, but I think the Weekend League bubble tonight might be a decent time if you've got some players from cornerstones, you got some icons or heroes. I think it might be a decent time to just take the safe cash on some of those cards, because I'm worried that a lot of the hype players in this and some of the upgrades they've gotten to their cards could actually make other prices drop. Now, here's another card that's going to have a lot of hype today. The other big SBC that we are awaiting is the Arda Guler. And look at the freaking state of that card with the upgrade. Plus 13 pace, plus 9 shooting, 5 passing, and 4 dribbling. That's crazy. Insane upgrade there for Arda Guler. He didn't change at all in terms of his playstyles. One of the leakers here, I think it was another tweet, responded and said that he got a weak foot upgrade. So it was going to be 4-star, 4-star. He's got incisive, he's got finesse, whipped pass, inventive, and I think he's got technical and one other playstyle I think he has. So he's got great playstyles. He's 4-star, 4-star. As a center attacking mid, that card, I mean, that's better than my center attacking mid Chukwuemeka and my team by a country mile. That is going to be a very hyped SBC today because it's Arda Guler, because it's Madrid. But the question is, how much is the price going to be? And, we just had the Christian Pulisic SBC. To try to put this into comparison, how much they might value this card at today. Pulisic's 300,000 coins. Pulisic has more pace and more dribbling technically, but just slightly less shooting and a little bit less passing for sure. I hope this Arda Guler isn't much more than 350K. If Pulisic is 300 with those stats, I hope this isn't more than 350, but I could see it being all the way up to 550,000 coins. I think we have to remember, fodder is inflated a little bit already. Prices on these cards are up, and the flip side of that whole situation is we don't have a lot of fodder. So if the price of the SBC is decent, let's say it's more towards like 250 to 300,000 coins today, and fodder's already up this much, fodder's going to go even higher because people are going to go and buy it to get this SBC done, which is going to be really hype regardless, as we already mentioned. But if the SBC is kind of towards the 450,000 coin range, I don't know if as many people will complete it. It all comes down to how many squads it is. If EA go for higher rated cards and less squads, if people see like it's 9 squads or something for Arda Guler today, that's not going to be a good feeling. If it's like 5 or 6 squads and it's similar to Pulisic, I think that'll be a little bit more easier to complete. It'll feel more craftable and people might start doing it right away. But regardless, this is going to have a lot of hype. It's going to make a lot of people look at Madrid links too. I'm even kind of investing this before the content drop today, since this is such a massive SBC name and there's so much hype around it today. I've already started looking at players like Eder Militao. I bought this right after the market dropped a little bit yesterday with the marquee matchups and then panic for the new promo. Militao with shadows and with anchors right around 40,000 coins. He's like 42 to 43K right now. Rudiger, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Courtois, those sort of players could be a watch, and they could end up going up in price as people may buy a card or two to link this Arda Guler in the team if there's a good price of this SBC. Now, also on the flip side, center attacking mids like a Musiala or some of those players could be dropping in value if the price of this SBC is so good that people are going to go and sell cards from their teams to go and complete this SBC. So that's one thing from a market perspective that I'm really curious about watching today. And I do think, guys, if you have fodder, I think there's a world today in which if the Haaland SBC is good, fodder could go up a little bit more. Even if it's not good, fodder shouldn't drop much. If the Arda Guler SBC is an SBC that a lot of people are doing, fodder could go up after content, even with some of the pack supply, maybe even with store packs in the store. I think fodder could go up even further after content today. It all depends on the value of that Arda Guler. So if you have invested in fodder and you're waiting to sell, you can sell on the hype if you want, but there are so many SBCs that are out right now. There's even more SBCs incoming too that look halfway decent. maybe it's one of these Fridays where you do hold it, but you don't want to hold it too long, because remember what happens with cards and with the market and even with fodder after the weekend league rewards get open. You have a lot of tradable pack supply that starts to come in, and a lot of people are selling cards. I think that's going to impact fodder too. So I think you want to try to treat fodder kind of like it's a Friday night bubble situation tonight. An hour after content, 2 hours after content, the safe way would be to get that fodder out and then see how it moves throughout the rest of the weekend. If we can reinvest or not, maybe Friday night or into Saturday. We'll just have to watch that situation closely. So there's even other SBC leaks that are out there. We've got a Bakayoko Semenyo player pick that's leaked. We've got a Juve card from West Ham, Mateta, Paredes. Of course, there's the Haaland we're getting earlier today. And we've got Agurd and Gay as well from La Liga. It's a player pick situation for these two, and then also for Bakayoko and Semenyo. Those are all SBCs that will be coming in the next week of this promo. But there's a lot of SBCs incoming, man. And at least a lot of them will be cheaper, but a lot of them look pretty interesting. Last thing with SBC leaks is we've got another guaranteed 3-player hero player pick coming. I don't think this is going to be today. It's probably going to be Saturday or Sunday later on during the weekend, but it's Guti, Papin, and Bon Pastor. Imagine if you do the Arda Guler, then you get Guti as a center mid with incisive plus, an 88 passing in your midfield. I mean, depending on the price of this SBC, if it's like 100 to 110K, this could be a really solid value hero player pick, because all of these cards were about 110 to 120,000 coins before this was leaked. But once again, that's just another SBC on the horizon that people are going to be needing fodder for, and they might want to turn cards into, but it's not out yet. So just kind of keep that in mind, that more of that SBC demand is incoming. Now let's cover evolutions, which I started doing some evos here, man, because there's a few evos that expire today. The complete connection 15K evo. I was like, you know what? The full English team, I'm going to need a One Nation squad. This Kearns card is sick. I'm throwing her into this. This is the Surge evo path that I'm working on at the moment. And then the Sprint Boost evo expires in a day. So I was like, let me chuck this Pepe into it and give him the rapid play style. So maybe just run through evos before content today and make sure there's nothing that you want to do, like use relentless pressure on a player as well. But this is the evolution that we're looking forward to today. Max 80 rated, so lower rated, but max 80 rated center back, getting a pretty sizable boost, they say here. Great for one team RTG, big stats upgrade. It gets block and jockey playstyle base, max 5 silver playstyles, and there's some stat requirements. We believe from looking below and seeing what cards do fit into this, looks like it might be max 83 or max 84 pace, and we're not sure on some other requirements. But Kalulu is one of the most popular cards that fits into this. Foot Agent was also tweeting, show me your first owner card. Jan Bisek is going to fit this. Too fast for Mario Gila. He's got 85 pace, and he got the non-response from Foot Agent here. But Klosterman with 83 pace got the Wii. He does fit, and that could be a pretty saucy card. Again, I think it was Foot Agent who said it's a big defensive upgrade. I'd be really curious to know how high that stat cap is. Is it 84? Is it 85? What's the physical upgrade? What's the pace upgrade on these cards going to be? And is it going to be paid? That's also another question that I have. But so watch out for some of these max 80 rated center backs. It's kind of fun that it's a lower rated cap here. Maybe you're creating a card who isn't the best right now, or is like, you know, maybe you used it the first week, but now it's not good enough anymore, and making them actually good enough. So depending on what the price of this Evo is, because I'm guessing it's going to be paid. Hopefully it's like 10, 20,000 coins or something like that, unless the upgrades are pretty sick. It would just be nice to have an Evo that feels like we're getting some juice. Now, also with Evos, last thing to mention, we do have here some new evolutions added to the code. Tiki Taka Plus, that's pretty serious. CDM DLP, Silver Warm-Up Evo, that sounds like a perfect Evo for building silver players in our teams, because that silver tournament's not that long away. And the center mid box to box plus, that is a FC25 preseason reward Evo. Guys, those rewards, we're going to be talking about it soon, but those rewards are coming out on Tuesday, the 14th. So remember that one. We'll remind you of it, of course, later in the week as well as we get closer and closer to it. Now, let's get to the market discussion. We've talked about the leaks. We've talked about what content's expected today. Let's get into the market discussion by looking back at what happened yesterday after Division Rivals rewards first. Remember, one of the things that I was a little bit hesitant on with the market this week was how much the market was going to rise on Thursday, because the market had already risen a lot heading into Thursday. And there were some price rises yesterday. We're talking about Gravenberch, right? The card we looked at in yesterday's video. We bought him at 60K. I sold him at 66. And you know what? That's not that great of a rise, but you could make some coins off of that. The market did rise a little bit yesterday, not a whole lot though. And I think that's one thing we're just going to have to remember for the future is when we have big crashes on the weekend, like sizable crashes, like this card was 90K on Friday and it went down to 58,000 coins. And then we see the market rise up a bit in the first couple of days of the week. The rises that we see on Thursdays are kind of subdued. So I think that's worth remembering. And I'm really curious to know if that is repeated this weekend with how the market looks like it might be shaping up with hype cards coming in, a lot of SBC cards released that maybe people will be buying fodder for, so that could drain coins off the market, plus the second week of FUT Champs rewards, kind of knowing what that did to the market last week. We're gonna have to watch that for sure this week, but just something to remember. If you bought cards for your team before Rivals, I still think you're okay to hold on to some of these. Like, there is a lot of hype for today, 100%, and there could be some prices that drop right away after content, but I still do believe we're going to have a little bit of what we had last Friday with, you know, the bubble situation. Like last Friday, Isak, he was already up from rewards. He went from 100K to 115, but then he went to 130, almost 130 in that 2 to 3 hour period of the Friday night bubble. I still think we're going to have that. I still think it's going to be a nice price rise on a lot of cards, some of those meta items for sure that you can look out for on the market today. What I'm just a little bit curious about is it going to crash even further and even farther once we get into the weekend league rewards supply time frame? That's kind of what I'm really curious about. With a lot of the SBC action, once again, I just want to reiterate that when really good SBCs come out, and considering where we are in this game right now, where we have not as many coins as last year, most people don't. You don't have as much fodder from getting as good rewards as last year from Division Rivals and from FUT Champs. When good SBCs get released, you're ending up spending more coins to buy fodder because you don't have as much in your club to go and get that SBC done. Whenever you are buying fodder and putting those players into an SBC, the market is being devalued. You're taking tradable coins, buying a tradable player, and submitting it in an SBC and getting maybe a small pack back that you're not going to make whatever the value of that fodder was back from. So you're turning tradable coins into untradable value. Now, sure, it's great. We love SBCs. We love the players that we get from it and the packs we get from it, but it devalues the market. And that is one of the worries I have for today, later on into the nighttime, combined with the fact that these promo cards look really crazy. I'm kind of worried about this Claudia Pina. I think this might be the bubble bursting for this card starting today. We've been saying it like Thursday was probably the last day to get out of this card, even before content today. Just be careful with this Claudia Pina. Sure, she's still overpowered. She's very good in game, and she's mostly just super duper hyped, but her gold card comes back into packs as this special version goes out of packs. I think this is the day you got to sell your Claudia Pina. She's going to get packed more. Again, this card, remember, was 5,000 coins, 3,000 coins before all the hype began for her item. So I think it's definitely the time to sell that. But overall, in general, it's just going to be a day on the market today where hopefully we see the Friday night bubble. And then after that, I think it might just be a madness. We'll just have to see what happens, to be completely honest. We'll be trading. We'll be having opportunities to buy cards for your team. But if you have bought cards for your team, I would take the safe route. Play your games tonight on Friday for FUT Champs and then sell whenever you're done. Like, you don't have to worry about selling in the Friday night window. If you're going to be playing later than that, just make sure your cards get out. Make sure you sell them, because we do remember what happened last week, right? We remember how the weekend league rewards 3 to 4 hours after content started being opened, and how when people were logging off for the night, what it did to the market, right? Rudiger, 60K to 66. He was 60K again 3 hours, 4 hours after content, and then 6 to 7 hours after content, he was 43,000 coins. And then he dropped further the next day on Saturday. We'll just have to see if that's the way the market trends again this weekend. It'll be very interesting to watch. I think these Cornerstones cards are in jeopardy of dropping in price as well. I think they're rare and they're good to trade with. And today, with the Friday night bubble, will bring great opportunities to trade. Also, think about it. You've got a lot of people that are making profit on fodder. If they sell today, they're going to have coins to go and build teams and to buy players. And that could mean player prices move a good bit. But I think I want to be 100% liquid personally into the content drop today. And then I also want to be, as I'm not really making any coins here on this Adiemi, just trying to get out of it before the content today, I want to be 100% liquid when I get off the game on Friday night today too. But in between the content drop and when I get off the game, kind of like you guys, I want to be moving. I want to be making some buys, making some sells, and seeing if we can make some coins. I'll be looking at rare cards, heroes, icons, and I'll be looking at players like this. I'll be looking at a Marcus Llorente who's kind of a little bit low right now, who at around 400,000 coins, because he's super rare on the market. And this is a card that I think a lot of people are going to want to use. I believe there's even pro events that are going on today. And I think based on what those pros are using, I think it's worth watching the market, because there could be some players that get the spotlight that could go up in value. And there could be players that are investable and tradable because of that too, because a lot of this market is just hype and what people are using and what's the most meta and stuff like that. So I think that's something to consider today. And depending on when or not this new patch drops, that could be moving prices too. This is what I want to end with really quick. I know it's been a longer video. There's a lot to discuss today, but EA tweeted yesterday, a couple hours after content, that they are continuing to look into our feedback around defending, dribbling, and kickoffs. They're planning a further update to positioning on kickoffs and to tighten defensive marking. I was saying earlier in the stream, it doesn't feel like for kickoffs, it's the defending positioning that's a problem. It just feels like goals go in and your defense, I guess after the defending positioning, your defense just feels slower when it's that first initial kickoff phase. Feels like goals just go in and you can get dribbled around a whole lot more easy. That's what it feels like to me. And that's why people, I think, call it a kickoff goal, because it just feels like there's a higher chance of a goal off of kickoff than after possession changes hands once or twice, right? Not really anything to do with marking, because they made that first patch, that first update, and you notice the difference of how the players look different, but you still concede a lot of goals. They also mentioned for general defending and dribbling, right now we're working on making manual defending more effective based on your feedback. I think a lot of people have been saying it's hard to defend in this game. They've noticed a lot more of park the bus tactics, like sit at the back with your defenders and just control one center defensive mid the whole entire time to try to defend, because it is difficult to defend. I think that's what EA is trying to say here. They're trying to make more manual defending more effective. So making the player you're controlling more effective, well, that could hurt and make it more park the bus. Actually, the way that I think about that and read about that, even though that's not what we want and probably not what EA wants too. They also said their intent is to strike a balance between dribbling and jockey effectiveness without losing responsiveness. I think they just need to buff jockeying effectiveness just a little bit. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. That way we don't feel like we have to put that extra player in the box, and we will feel okay controlling a center back, because we know that we can move almost at the same pace as that dribbler can. Again, EA said earlier this year when we were out there, they don't want to change when something is good. When they have something good, they don't want to change it. They want to rise something up to the level to make it more balanced. So right now, dribbling's here, jockeying is here. Just like a little bit, like 5%, not even 5% on jockeying. I think that would make a bit of a difference there. They said these updates are planned for the end of October, though, so they're taking some time. They know this is a serious issue for real on the dribbling and the defending situation, so there's going to be a bit more time before they put out a release for that. However, what the market is moving for right now is those patch notes that we saw kind of released into the game early a couple days ago. The bruiser playstyle is getting a buff, and physical tackles are getting buffed as well. This is going to be really interesting if this drops today, because it's going to make Weekend League a whole different experience. This is the video that's going viral right now. Let's go full screen. If you take a look at this, this is before, right? You have a defender going up to an attacker. You try to advance a defend tackle with the bruiser playstyle. That will be doing a X tackle on PlayStation or an A tackle on Xbox, kind of a shoulder barge. This is the before, right? Can't really get off the defender off the ball, and the defender has a shot. Now watch this. Boom. Absolutely bodied by the defender in the after. Like, this is crazy to watch. That before versus after scenario here. Boom. Absolutely bodied. When I first saw this, I almost just died laughing, because I was like, holy Madden truck stick type of vibe right there. Now, they said here, of course, we're not saying that all physical contact will look exactly like this. This example is to highlight the change. So I'm guessing that this example includes somebody who is a bruiser playstyle player, since that's kind of what this is going after, right? Example bruiser, as they set up here. And of course, those bruiser players that spiked on Wednesday, remember Pacho went from 80 to 120,000 coins. He went from 99K up to 120K as well. I'm sure cards like Vidic and I'm sure cards like Vincent Company did the exact same thing. Wow, yeah, he's 465,000 coins, so he has gone up a lot as well. The flip side to this is some people are worried about players like Claudia Pina, like the shorter Dumornays, the Dianis, and the Trinity Rodmans, saying that this sort of patch may hurt the value of those cards as well. I think it's a little early to try to react in that way right now. I think right now what I would do is get into the game, try things out, and see where things go. If we do get the patch today, then we'll obviously be able to test it out during Weekend League, and that'll be a big change we're all adapting to this weekend. But if it's not, if it's pushed into the week, next week, we'll just have to see how that ends up panning out, especially because this Rodman's going to go out of packs, and I think this could end up being a pretty good investment for like 36 to 37K. We love out of packs investing. Most of the cards from Cornerstone's Team 2 did really well last week, so watch that this week as well for the elite cards that are coming out. All right, that's plenty of yap, guys. Good luck today on Friday if you're either getting Rivals games in, you're getting some SBC fodder sold off, or you're starting to complete some of those SBCs. I will see you guys in the stream today. We will have a lot to discuss, a lot to watch, and hopefully it'll be a fun Friday on FC 26 with Ratings Reload. If you enjoyed this video, drop a thumbs up on it, comment, let me know if any questions, and of course, subscribe if you're new. It's been Native for see you in the stream today. Peace out.